How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to the Fruit of Grisaia. So, gotta give a heads up here. I have a bit of a cold. I think the worst should be behind me. It was awful a couple days ago, but I still have a bit of a cough. I've still got a bit of a stuffy nose and sneeze. And most importantly, my voice tends to give out after a certain length of time. I recorded yesterday for Legend of Heroes, and I did pretty good, but by the end, it was really starting to be painful. So, while it's helped, I don't have to do voice work for this one. I just voice Yuuji, so I just kind of use my natural voice. It's still likely to become a problem. So, the length of this episode probably going to be about story beats, but it's also going to be reined in by whatever I'm capable of keeping up with. So, I wouldn't be surprised if this is definitely a shorter one than normal, just because there's only so much I can do. But I still want to record, I still want to make a video. And yeah, I'm going to open up real quick with some theory crafting, because I was pretty overwhelmed last time, and if it wasn't very clear at the end of the episode, I was actually really frustrated and upset. Just because I was upset that Michiru made the choice that she did, and there wasn't anything else we could do about it seemed. I also was upset that Dark Michiru, I felt like there could have been more she could have done. She saw all the signs long before we did. You pointed out in some of my responses in the comments that, well, the last time she tried to directly interfere, Michiru literally tried to unalive herself, so I see that point. But at the same time, I don't know, I'm still believing that Dark Michiru not only saw that the interference had caused a very dramatic effect on the psyche of Michiru. I'm starting to hear noises. It was not just a dramatic effect on the psyche of Michiru, but also the fact that she was intervening and causing gaps in her memory. Maybe it was all inadvertent, like Michiru was kind of just tucking herself away, and when that happened, Dark Michiru just stepped up and did the best that she could. But at the same time, it was causing harm. I feel like it's a tough situation. There really was no good answer as I thought about it, but in the end, I'm still frustrated with Dark Michiru because I felt like it would have been nice if there was more that could have been done. I don't know. I don't think there's it's one of those situations where, like, there's a lot of ifs and buts and what ifs and what if buts, and it just, I don't know if there's a good answer, but I was very frustrated. And so, one of you asked, like, what are your thoughts about how this might be resolved? And genuinely, I'm not sure. There's two avenues I think we can approach with this. If we learn more about who Dark Michiru is, perhaps we can get Dark Michiru to help reach out, or maybe Dark Michiru can retreat and kind of force Michiru to the surface again. Kind of like, because if Michiru coiling in on herself can kind of manifest Dark Michiru, maybe it can work in reverse, where if Dark Michiru closes herself inside, it kind of would force Michiru back to the surface, and maybe we get a chance to talk to her about it. On the same turn, I also wonder if there might be some kind of connection. I still think the game dropped a hint about a kiss, and maybe a kiss is another way to bring Michiru up, because we know she really enjoyed that. We know she really cares about Yuuji and really, like, she values the bond that they have, even if she was, like, ultimately fishing for a farewell, which kind of makes sense. I still feel like there's something there. Maybe that's going to be our lifeline in the end. And maybe it's a combination of both, but I don't know. We'll have to see. At this point, my best gamble would be, like, we need to figure out who Dark Michiru is and what her story is. Maybe there's a link or a clue that we can use there. Or perhaps if we get to know Dark Michiru and what she might need, maybe then she'd be willing to try something drastic that might bait out Michiru proper. But anyway, enough theory crafting. Just wanted to clear the air because, like, I was so frustrated at the end of last episode, I didn't really think things through. And so between episodes, that's been my thought processing. So let's jump right in and let's see. I'll try not to get too frustrated, but oof. Oh boy. Alright, let's get going. Our classmates welcomed Michiru's return to the dormitory happily. Even more than the all clear from her medical examination, they were encouraged by the dramatic improvement in her mood. The girl's been moving through her normal daily routines as the usual Michiru. Nobody seems to have caught on to the fundamental change that's taken place deep inside her. But as the true Michiru's absence stretches into days, some of her friends seem to be vaguely beginning to sense her subtle transformation. Thank goodness for that.
お兄ちゃん、ちょっと聞きたいことがあるのよさ。
Go ahead. I'll answer if I can.
チルチルのことなんだけど、ちょっと変じゃない？
I wonder how honest we should be here. Oh? How do you mean?
うまく言えないんだけど、なんだか変。前から変は変だけど、違う変？よくわからないのよさ。
It was almost like a tongue twister of how much it kept repeating the same little phrase over and over again. I'm guessing is essentially like weird, but like I can't remember the exact part of it, but it was kind of cute to hear it like over and over. I see. Something seemed strange about her to you.
思うね。お兄ちゃんは何も感じないの？
Tricky question. Well, I don't think there's anything you need to worry about.
そんなこと言われても気になるのよ。考えすぎて頭がクラクラしてきた。みそおちがワクワクしてくる前に一休みするのよさ。
Isn't the solar plexus like here, the plate where your ribs fuse? What? Okay. Huh, you do that. I don't have the slightest idea what a wumbling solar plexus might indicate. Probably just mashing together words she picked up somewhere at random again. In any case, it's clear that Makina is starting to notice a change in her friend. The last time I had a face-to-face conversation with Michiru was the morning I welcomed her home from the hospital with Sachi. After her return to the dorm, the girl's been beating a quick retreat every time it seems like we might end up alone together. To put it simply, she's blatantly avoiding me. That's troubling. Because if we have any chance of greeting Michiru, it's got to be in person. And I wonder if Dark Michiru actually is taking that into account. What if she's avoiding us because she doesn't want to tempt Michiru out of the darkness? Maybe... while Dark Michiru seemed to be, you know, benign and mostly wanting to be helpful and friendly with Michiru, maybe this is kind of like a shrug and move on type of thing for her, where she's like, well, you know what, I get to have a life again, you know, whatever her previous life was. And she's like, okay, Michiru doesn't want her life, I'll take it. Sounds good. I mean, at least it's not going to waste, which is a even-handed approach, but gosh darn it, I like Michiru. Like, I like her, I want her around. But that's only strengthened my determination to force her into a long talk. I need to know what the true Michiru was thinking when she decided to disappear from this world. Oh boy. I'm passing by Michiru's room when I hear the sound of someone clattering around inside. Barging in right now would almost be like cornering her for an interrogation. I hesitate for a moment, but the chance is just too good to pass up. I knock sharply on the door, then enter the room without waiting for a response. Michiru, we need to have a serious... it's you! Why so shocked?
急に入ってきたら驚きます。一応お知らせしておきますが、私だって驚いたりするんですよ。
I mean, that's fair.
それより風見さんこそどうしたんですか？みちる様の部屋に何かご用ですか？
No. Yeah, just a minor errand. What are you doing in here?
何って、お掃除に決まってるじゃないですか。みちる様に頼まれたんです。部屋中ピカピカですよ。あとはこの箱だけです。
With these words, Sachi produces the small, sturdy box from the other day. I reflexively reach out as if to take it from her hands, but realize halfway through just how strange that would seem. My outreached arm, losing its purpose, surrenders to gravity and listlessly drops to my side.
どうかなさいましたか?
Yeah, I think Yuji's really taking it harder than he anticipated. Someone pointed out, I think a couple episodes ago, that Yuji's feelings for Michiru were also very half-baked, which, granted, I think the whole situation of the, like, relationship, not relationship, pretend, not pretend, I think is a minefield, mind game to kind of try and navigate. But I think as the game proceeded, he not only found himself enjoying her presence, but he also was genuinely concerned about her as an individual. It was very clear that that was the case with Meowmo, where his actions were all about, like, trying to do... Like, he wasn't trying to be overly pragmatic. He knew the cat was pretty much on his last legs. He still tried to get it to a hospital. He still tried to make sure he was there with her. He also took care of his remains because that was just something Michiru would not have been able to handle at the time, but needed to be done. It's very clear he wasn't doing it for sentimental reasons. He was doing, well, maybe that's exactly the definition, but like he wasn't doing it just because it was like efficient, which is usually how he does everything. He did that because he cares, and because he cares about her. And I think he's finally realized that now that she's technically gone. No, not really. But are you really determined to look inside that thing?
どうしてですか？だって空っぽなんですよね。開けてお掃除するぐらいいいじゃないですか。
Empty? Ah, yeah, I guess I did say that.
はい、おっしゃいました。鍵も風見さんが開けてくださったことですし、中のお掃除を。
Unlocked? What? A glance confirms that the box is indeed unsecured. I'm sure I locked it after nosing around inside the other day. Why would it be? He took it. I instinctively reached out again in reaction to the strange sight, but this time my timing's bad. I bumped Sachi's arm just as she shifted the box in her hand, and the jolt sends a small chest tumbling to the floor below.
ごめんなさい、私。
No, I'm sorry. That was my fault.
よかった、壊れなくて。箱の中身、風見さんの言った通り空っぽですね。
Fetch. Did she destroy the novel, the journal? Yep, that it is. Quite empty. Just as I said, there's nothing inside, it's just an empty wooden box. Sachi wipes the dust from its interior with a small cloth and returns it to the closet.
さあ、これで終わりです。
See, I can't help but be really annoyed at that. It's like, fetch me, that was like her last remaining record on Earth. I don't care if technically Michiru's last thoughts were to wipe her own existence away in her mind. You don't just do that. That was a person, a very complicated person, and their thoughts, and their very real life and feelings that really matter. Sure, it was full of personal stories that she might not have wanted others to know about, but I don't think it's fair to just discard it. Maybe I'm being too hasty, though. Maybe Dark Michiru just put it somewhere more secure. But I can't help but be frustrated at that. Tell me, Sachi, was this box empty from the start?
最初からですよ。と言っても、さっき落とした時に初めて中を見たんですけど。
Sachi's not one to lie unless she was like told to do so, and I imagine she wouldn't be good at it. I see. In that case, never mind.
では、次にマキちゃんのお部屋をお掃除するのですが。
Go ahead, don't worry. I'm sure Michiru won't mind me being here.
はあ、そうですね。それでは失礼しますね。
The sniffles are here. I'm sorry. I sit down on the bed and lightly roll my shoulders. There were definitely notebooks and pictures in that box. Their disappearance has to mean that the current Michiru disposed of them after her return. Honestly, I guess it's about time I do something here.
わっ、びっくりした。
That's my line. What happened to the contents of the box? Those aren't the sorts of things you throw out without permission, woman.
待ってよ。勝手に捨てたわけじゃないよ。っていうか、君は勝手に部屋に入ってきてるけど、それはいいの？
I think we're past caring at this point. Not really. You see, this is Michiru's room, not yours.
そっか。なるほどね。
With those words, Michiru throws herself down on the bed next to me. Seemingly indifferent to the concept of personal space, she settles in extremely closely.
あのね、君は私を悪者にしたいみたいだけど、そんなことないのよ。
I don't know, Dark Michiru. I feel like my name was more apt than I realized when I gave it to you. I was just talking about light and dark side, or like I could have, like I think my initial thought was like two sides of a coin, but that doesn't really make sense of like heads or tails. So I went light dark. Didn't realize how true it was gonna feel. Like I said, I'm sure there's more to her story, and I'm really guessing that she's probably the key to figuring out how to contact Michiru again. I think she's gonna be a pivotal part of it, but I can't help but be like Yuuji, and just frustrated. The girl peers into my face as she speaks, her expression serious. I didn't call you the bad guy, I'm just stating a fact. This is Michiru's room.
悪者だと言っていない？でもそういう目で見てるでしょ？結構傷ついちゃうよ、そういうの。
Oh, why don't we just join a club then? We'll just make the I'm in pain because Michiru's gone for one reason or another. We can make a great membership here. Everyone could join eventually.
だってさ、 私だって好きでこの体にやってきたわけじゃないのよ。それは分かってる？
Yes, I know that much.
へえ、君は何でも分かっててすごいね。
Oh, shut your
で
trap.
もね、君にも分からないことはたくさんあるんだよ。死んだらどうなる？それは誰にも分からない。
Fair.
私にも分からない。
Fair. By all accounts, you are a memory from a heart that was transplanted into a random person. I imagine that would be quite shocking, and the fact that you're conscious and have memories of your former life, I'm assuming, would be quite an interesting perspective on death. I don't feel like that's the critical point here, though.
たった一人の女の子の本当の気持ちだって分からないじゃない。そんなの何も分からないのと一緒だよ。
Look, I'm not talking to you because I want riddles. The games aren't necessary.
分かった。じゃあ簡単に言う。
Thank you. With a deep sigh of resignation, Michiru resumes the conversation on a markedly different note.
病院で彼女はもう二度とここに戻ってこないと私に言ったの。私はそれに反対した。だってこの体は彼女のものだもの。
Right, I
決
imagine
意は変わらなかった。
I imagine that she has the ability to force that decision, and that's why I can't be super mad at you. It's why I can't really hate you in any way. Even if I could, I don't think I would, but I like legitimately can't. There's no grounds for it because technically, like Michiru could force this upon her, and she just has to accept it. I just am frustrated because I don't know. Does it make sense? It's like she's pretending to be Michiru. That's what bothers me more than anything, really. It's like she's just trying to fill her shoes and trying to make it so that everyone just assumes that everything's fine. And it's not. She's not her. She should be her own self. And I get why it probably makes it a lot simpler just to do it like this for now and then leave the school at the end of the next year or whatever and then bye-bye, never have to deal with it again. She gets to be her own self. I mean, once she leaves the school, if she never sees any of them again, she gets a literal clean slate. Her parents will probably be over the moon with like a more motivated Michiru. She can be successful. She can live a full life. I can kind of get that. But this halfway is just, it feels awful. And Yuji said it kind of right. Like, this isn't your room, it's Michiru's room. And while she's trying to do this, you know, soft shoe shuffle, pretending to be a girl that she's inhabiting the body of, it feels wrong. It feels upsetting. And the box being empty, that's again upsetting, understandable, but upsetting. And like, that's just how I feel about it. It's just like, upsetting is the word. Never coming back again. I want it all to end. This world is just too sad. Why do people die? Why do we have to leave each other? Nobody can give me a good answer. I'm the most worthless person in the world. It's interesting to me because my first instinct is like, well, we all think that. And it's like, but I don't think so. I think a lot of people can go through life not feeling like they're the most worthless person in the world, but a lot of us do. So why do I have to force myself to go on living in this pathetic, miserable little life? It wouldn't be so bad if I was just inferior to everybody else, but I'm not even the best me inside of me. It's really painful and really sad. God fetch me. What's the point of my existence? Nobody's telling me. Why do the friends who treat me kindly all go away? Why do I have to say goodbye to the people I love? Everybody else is just turning a blind eye to the fact that it all ends. They're telling themselves comfortable lies. That's how they get through the day. I don't want to be in the world like that. It's scary. Really, really scary.
でも、本当にそれでいいの？これは君の体で、君の人生なんだよ。
So they did start talking to each other, like formally, in their head.
分かってる。でも、これ以上続けていく自信がない。だから、あなたにこれからの私を任せたい。あなたなら、うまくできるでしょ。ごめんね。私がもっと君のことをちゃんとフォローできれば、こんなことにはならなかったのに。
No, that's not true at all. In fact, I think that's the part of the problem, unfortunately.
あなたのせいじゃない。全部私が悪いの。私がバカで、ダメで、 生きている意味がないから。分かった。おやすみなさい。ゆっくり寝てて。もし君の気が変わったら教えて。いつでもいいから。もういいの。これで終わりにするの。
See, I can't be mad. Like, it does sound like she tried. Well, she tried harder, but I don't know if that would have done any good. Ugh.
あの子はもう戻ってこないつもりみたい。
I see. If that's Michiru's decision, maybe that's the way it'll have to be, but tell me, what are your thoughts on the matter?
私はあの子が今後もこの体で生きるべきだと思う。だって人生ってそういうものでしょ？
But okay, but now it's also at the same time, it's like, what about Dark Michiru? Like, she didn't ask for this, and to be fair, the fact that she can be kind of resolute in saying like, yeah, it'd be better if she were here instead of me, when she has an opportunity to have a second life. Like, how many of us would kill for that kind of opportunity? Like, I don't think in reality a lot of us would. While we have some, mistakes we've made or problems we have, most of us have a lot that's worth like, having around. But there is like a romantic idea. It's essentially it's the core of what makes isekai such an interesting concept and why I think it's become such a successful type of anime story. Like, the other world aspect isn't really the part I think that people find the most captivating. It's the chance to start over, but with all the knowledge you gained in your first try, right? Being able to be young and going through, like, growing up again with the advantages of having an old mind, one that knows, at least functionally, a lot more about life and a proper perspective. And then throw in, the chance to live out a fantasy, which, is always a fun concept, and boom, you've got a recipe for like an amazing inspirational story. But I actually find that the ones that are most impactful are the ones that don't involve a fantasy necessarily, but are just a restart. Is it real life? The one that's like, it's not even like you're actually restarting, it's people who are struggling to like live life beyond high school. They take like a medication that makes them de-age temporarily, and they re-enroll them in school and let them kind of just have that school experience again. The idea being that it could kind of reinvigorate the drive that it could take to help you find a successful career in life. To give you a chance at a childhood or a youth that for some reason passed you by. I always thought that was one of the most powerful examples of those stories. And that's the thing, Dark Michiru technically has that. It's like, she has like literally the one in a lifetime or one in existence type of experience where she could probably just have a new start with any knowledge she had previously. I don't know, maybe we'll find out more about her, but like, that's priceless. And while she might feel really sad and bitter and unsure based on like the source of it, maybe part of my frustration is the fact that she seems to just have gone with it, but like, would I do anything different? Or would I want to take that opportunity in my hands of saying, well, my last life is over, but I can make such a better round two if I have all this memory and knowledge of what I've done and what I wish I'd done. That's compelling, actually.
自分で自分を選ぶことなんて誰だってできない。だからあの子もこの体を受け入れなくちゃ。
Then again, if Michiru never comes back, you'll be able to live freely, right? As your own person, not somebody's stand-in. You'll be able to do what you want to do, when you want to do it. Pretty decent deal, don't you think? Don't you want another shot at life?
それは。
Yeah, see, like, I'm glad that I'm pretty much just stating what the game is going for, but at the same time, at least my thoughts are, while my emotions are very wacky, I'm glad that I'm staying pretty grounded and really still being able to see her perspective. The girl bites a fingernail, she ponders the question, probably isn't even aware she's doing it.
それはそうだけど。でも、これは私の体じゃない。
That's very altruistic of you. I don't think it's honest, but I also can respect that because sometimes you have to make choices that are not honest ones. it's like a great example. It's like I'm dedicated to a partner, and that's not going to change. But I had to say that if I had somebody who I found physically attractive, who said they found me physically attractive and wanted to do things, together, there's going to be a part of me that's always going to be interested in participating in that. That's why they call it temptation. That's why they call it desire. That's why they call it, it's part of pleasure. Of course that's going to be tempting. Of course that's going to be an opportunity that I would want to say yes to in a part of me. But the proper, altruistic, and long-sighted version of me understands that no, I've already got everything I need, and a relationship that's long-term and based on trust and love rather than just a carnal desire is far more valuable than a one-night stand or anything like an affair. And that's the thing that would hold me to that path, and maybe that's what's holding Dark Michiru here, is that she's like, look, I'd love to have just take over her body, just have a whole new life. Maybe she even had the capability from the start to allow that to happen, to permanently push Michiru away and just take over, but she chose not to. Because she's like, no, this is Michiru, her body, her life, and she shouldn't be stuffed into a closet just because I want to have another chance. Overcoming her moment of hesitation, the girl delivers her answer in a resolute tone. I see. In other words, you want to respect Michiru's wishes first and foremost.
そうだね。
No matter what they may mean for you, or for that body.
それってどういうこと?
Is he talking about the unaliving attempt, maybe? Just answer the question. Do you really believe that the Michiru should take precedence, correct? Alright then. I slap my hands together, smiling. Now we can get started. I can't stand people who unilaterally push a little help onto someone and get all proud of themselves for saving a life. Thinking you can save someone as easily as that is a load of egotistical bullcrap. Actually, saving someone is an incredibly difficult thing. You can sacrifice your entire life in the attempt, and sometimes it still won't be enough. Whew, there's a quote. This world has far too many idiots who mistake themselves for some kind of superhero, savior, or mythical healer. Wounds of the heart can't be patched up by some self-satisfied third party. Yuuji, why are you the one saying this, though? I mean, I get it. Maybe he's just gone through stuff that has helped him realize this, but at the same time, it's it feels way too, wise for Yuuji. Only the person who's suffering can know the depth of those wounds, and nobody else can even readily understand. You've got to face them yourself. Patch yourself together. Even if your wounds won't ever fully heal, you've got no choice but to bear them. You've got to find a way to go on living anyway. I'm not going to tell Michiru to live or come out of there just because I say so, but right now I need to know her real feelings, and therefore, you're going to take some of these. Is he going to force her to take the suppressants? Oh gosh, I didn't think that was a possibility, but now that that's crossed my mind, that's interesting. I retrieved a canister of ramune candy from my pocket. Little something I picked up in Michiru's room earlier.
それは?
The medicine she was taking to keep you in check. With you in control, it should bring her back to the surface. I want to hear what she has to say for herself. That's bold, terrifying. Starting at the white pill visible inside the container, the girl hesitates, clearly reluctant.
言ってることはわかる。でも、彼女は本当に強く、深く心を閉ざしてしまったの。
Well, why don't we give it the old college try?
だから薬を飲んだとしても、彼女が顔を出すとは思えない。
Then there's nothing to worry about. You take it, you go to sleep, you wake up, you're still you. She's never coming back. You take it, you go to sleep, she comes back. Then we have something to go with. But that's the thing, is again, she says that, but what does she really want? And the thing is, that's something, I wonder if Yuji's gonna bring that up, is look, maybe we also need to understand her perspective. Just swallow the pills. Not to worry, I'll give you a generous helping. Oh, we're gonna force it then, huh? I pour 10 or so from the white pills into my hand, then force them into Michiru's mouth. Now I'll just pinch her nose and cover her mouth. Shut up and swallow. It's fine, you won't die or anything. A slightly rough way of doing things, admittedly, but I want to hear Michiru's thoughts, so you're gonna have to put up with it. After the last of the pills slide down Michiru's throat, I push her firmly onto the bed. Oh boy. Alright, come on out. I want to hear your real feelings, Michiru. Get out here already, will you? Come on. Beads of sweat forming on her forehead. The girl writhes as if I'm holding her to over a flame. I grab her by the shoulders to prevent her escape. Don't run away. If you have the slightest interest in living, I'll help you. Even if it means putting my own life on the line, I'll save you, so tell me your real feelings. I can see Michiru's expression gradually changing. Somewhere deep inside her, that Michiru is rising toward the surface. Say it, Michiru. What do you want? I'll make it happen. Yeah? What? Come on, out with it. Say it.
死にたい。
Yeah.
もう生きていたくない。悲しいことは嫌だ。
Saying that and nothing more, Michiru's eyes fall shut. She goes limp on the bed, apparently unconscious. I see. In that case, that's how it'll be. I have to respect your wishes, after all. I gently wipe the sweat from the girl's forehead with my hand. I'll kill you, Michiru. First thing first, if we're going to end your world, we're going to need a suitable box.
心地よかった。とても心地よかった。すべてが平坦で、感情の起伏もない。
I have no idea what's gonna happen. I'm scared. I'm scared.
失うものもない。去る人もいない。暑くも寒くもない。ただ静かで、無限に闇が広がっている。何の変化も起こらない。私もう終わったんだ。そう決めてからは闇が怖くなくなった。何も感じないこの空間と私は友達だ。だから怖くない。ここにいればあらゆる恐怖から守られている。闇は私に膝枕をする。私の肩を抱く。私に密着し、そこから溶解し、どこからが私で、そうでないのかが曖昧になっていく。これでいいんだ。これでいいの。
Oh, she's getting so quiet. Somebody's trying to open the door, but I've already decided I'm never coming out of here again. It's pointless. They should have just given up. I'm finished. Out. Your lings here out. Come on. I can hear a voice that brings me back a lot of memories, a voice I'll never hear again. Don't run away, slightest in living. Putting my life on the line, so your real feelings. How is his voice reaching me here, so deep in the dark? I'm sure I locked the door firmly behind me, but somehow it's slipping through the cracks, trying to reach my heart. I wish he'd cut it out. I'd already decided to end the pain. I already decided I didn't want to be sad anymore. Michiru, I'll make it happen. He's calling my name, but going back there would be far too scary. I don't want to live anymore, but being all alone is scary too. What? Come on, out with it. Say it! I'm afraid of being alone, so instead... I don't want to lose anything ever again. If I'm just going to end up losing the people I care about, then... But even more than that, I don't want to be separated from Yuuji. I can see his face above me very, very close. I'll never see him like this again. I'll never be able to touch him again. But there's nothing I can do about that now. As my consciousness fades slowly away, I hear him speak to me. I'll kill you, Michiru. I see. Being killed by the person I love, huh? Yeah, that might just be the happiest possible ending. Once again, I sink down through the deep darkness, and as I settle in my home at the bottom of the sea, I hazily wonder what will happen next. I'm pretty much dead already. What's going to change if Yuuji kills me? Will even this small flicker of consciousness disappear into nothing? Or maybe I'll just fall in a little deeper, into an even darker, more silent world. Can't even imagine what an afterlife might be like. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared and lonely, of course, but what else can I do? That girl's better than me. She always will be, so this is the way it has to be. Yeah, I wish I knew what he was up to, too. What? So bright. Something's happening, but I can't tell what. Once again, I'm forcibly dragged up out of the darkness. The brilliant light pierces deep into my eyes, bringing with it a sharp jolt of pain. Did Yuuji kill me? I might explain this sudden dramatic change. Maybe this is the afterlife? I don't know about that, though. My eyes really hurt. Isn't everything all peaceful after you die? Or maybe you still... Feels like my body's being carried along inside something. I can feel the vibration of wheels turning over on the floor below. Not a car, nothing but an engine. This is something much more primitive. A shopping cart? No, it's not a shopping cart. That's right, it's just like the times that carted me through the hospital hallways, but somehow this feels a lot stuffier. I wonder what this cart is so different. Oh my gosh. What is happening? Okay, what is this? What's going on? I decided never to come back to this world, but for some reason I'm still alive. And right now I'm lying inside a box. This is probably a little hard to believe, but I can hear Yuji's voice. I'm definitely alive. This isn't the afterlife. Michiru's dead. I told you guys she was suffering from anemia, but that was a lie. Her hospitalization was for a much more serious disease. The exam results really did look favorable, but last night her condition took an abrupt turn for the worse. It's a real shame, but there was nothing they could do. Oh. Is he presenting her to their friends as dead? And is gonna let her hear how much she meant to them? Is that what he's doing? He's giving her a death after a fact, but letting her hear what she meant to those whom she'd be leaving behind. I died? I mean, yeah, that was the plan. I was going to die and let the other me take over, but something's wrong here. I'm lying inside a box, being treated like someone who's really dead. My eyes won't open more than a crack, but I can see the ceiling above me. I can see the blindingly bright light. It's the truth. Normally this wouldn't have been disclosed to you guys either, but I wanted to give you the chance to get some closure. Amane's voice is thick with tears. The news of my death seems to have shook her pretty badly.
Kazami-san.
Yes, Sachi?
私たちにも内密にとはどういうことでしょうか。理解しにくいのですが。
I think you all have some idea what I'm talking about. Every one of us here is here for very private reasons involving messy, complicated circumstances. Given that, it shouldn't be that surprising for a death to be handled as quietly as possible.
なるほど。そうかもしれませんね。
Sachi's voice is trembling too. Why is this happening? Why is Yuuji doing this?
チルチルが死んじゃったなんて嘘なのよさ。お兄ちゃんは面白くない冗談を言っているのよ。やめなさいマキナ。だってこんなの嘘なのよ。信じられないのよ。私だって意味わかんないわよ。急にそんなこと。
Everyone's getting upset. This isn't what I wanted to happen. I vanished. The other me takes over. Everyone lives happily ever after. That's what I imagined. Oh gosh. Ugh.
マキナ、やめなさい。そんなことしたって仕方ないでしょ。だってこんなのずるいのよ。勝手になんておかしいのよ。
I feel bad too, because like, if she does come back from this, like, this is very damaging to do to them, but it makes sense what he's trying to do. It's a real gamble, but it's something. I approve, but man, I feel bad.
私だって納得できないわよ。でも、騒いでも意味なんてない。あまねごめんね、大きな声出して。でも
Mane, grab hold of Makina so she doesn't thrash around, alright? Even when I consciously try to move, I can't budge. Forget twitching a finger, I can't even blink. I wonder, what's happening to my body? He must have given her an actual, like, muscle relaxant, like a powerful one. Essentially, he's forced her into, what is it called? Like, the paralysis state? Like, when you can, like, wake up but you can't move your body? I can't remember what that term is. I know they always talk about the paralysis demon, but, like, it's the condition where that's happening. What is that called? Gosh darn it, I know it somewhere in my brain. Didn't want to make anyone cry, I didn't want to hurt anyone, but now Makina's bawling.
Matsushima-san.
Yumiko doesn't sound like she's been crying, that's good. It'd be too much to take if they all started weeping over me. Can't see my classmates' faces, I'm walled off from their world all by myself inside this box. I can only guess from their voices what's occurring around me. I'd always thought I was alone, but I guess I didn't know what the real solution was until now. I can't speak, I can't see their faces, I can't move a muscle. Maybe I wasn't that cut off from the world after all. My voice was weakened by my jokes were crappy, but at least I had friends who'd laugh with me. I'm gonna take Michiru's body for cremation immediately after this. Anyone who has something to say to her, write a letter, put it inside. I'm sure she'll read them in heaven. Cold son of a... Seems like Yuuji really does plan to kill me in that case. Before the end, I want to talk to him again. I want to see everyone's faces one more time before I go. But I can't make that request now. I can't even tilt my head slightly. No matter how hard I try, my body just won't listen. It's like every muscle and nerve in my body's gone strike all at once. I can't do anything but lie still on my back. I don't know if it's related, but my thoughts are moving very sluggishly as well. It's as though someone spun a network of thick spider webs inside my mind. Even though every thought has to slowly push its way through these clinging strands. Aren't you going to write anything, Sakaki? Why? You don't have anything to tell her?
現実感がない。昨日まで一緒に話してたのに、急にそんなこと言われても、私困る。何を書いていいのかわからないし。
I see. So that doesn't change the fact that this is your last chance. Don't leave yourself regretless. Any regrets.
わかってる。でもいい。
Well, that's your decision to make. I won't say any more.
かけた。中に入れるのよ。
Makina's thin arm reaches inside the box, placing her letter next to my face, but before pulling away, she firmly strokes my cheek for a moment. I never expected such a tender gesture from Makina, who's always been like a rambunctious little sister. It kind of startles me.
私も書いた。
Next, Amane reaches in to leave me her letter. Seeing that enormous chest resting against the edge of the box, the thought, wish my breasts had been a little like hers, popped into my head. What a stupid thing to be thinking about at a time like this. That's just how out of it I am right now. This is all too much to process. Amane doesn't touch my body, but she stares into my face for a long, long time. I don't think we've ever looked at each other like this before. Didn't know she could make an expression like that. It's surprisingly cute.
私、うまく書けなかったです。みちる様との最後と言われても、全然そんな気がしないんです。気持ちはわかるけど。だから、少し短いですが。
Thought she puts her letter in, then draws back without ceremony, as if to say we'll meet again anyway. You sure you're alright with this, Sakaki? Understood. Alright then, this is goodbye. And with that, I died. Enveloped in shuddering darkness, I'm carted off somewhere, probably a crematorium if Yuuji was telling the truth, because I'm going to be a pile of ashes in a little while. That's kind of a shame. I won't get to read the letters everyone went out of their way to write for me, and I really did want to see their faces before the end. I wanted to see Yuji's face. When I was the one saying goodbye, I was able to prepare myself emotionally, but now the shoe's on the other foot, and I'm kind of at a loss. Aww. Fetch me! Mimiko seems to have grabbed hold of the box and begun to shake it fiercely. I can hear the nails scratching against the wooden lid. Don't interfere, Sakaki. Get off!
じゃあ、落ち着いてください。風見さん、榊さんは私が。
Appreciate it.
小峰さん、私、ごめんなさい。だって、松代さん。大丈夫ですよ。みんな同じ気持ちですから。大丈夫です。
That'd be so crazy. Imagine hearing all that, like your friends and family. Like, what would they say if they thought you were gone? Actually, be able to hear it. That's so like, I don't think I'd emotionally be able to survive that. It'd be like a genuinely traumatic experience. It'd be a kind of a positive one. Is there such a thing as positive trauma?
大丈夫じゃない。大丈夫なことなんて何もない。
Oh.
なんでみんな言ってしまうの？
Never heard Yumiko this upset before, but it's even more surprising to learn that she had fears similar to my own. The rumbling of the wheels takes on a different tenor. We've left the building. Let me tell you something, Michiru. This isn't the end, first of all. The people you leave behind have to try and say goodbye. The idea that you can just vanish into thin air is a load of self-centered crap. I understand you want to disappear, but before you die, I expect you to go through a proper procedure. Can't wrap your life up neatly all by yourself. That's naive and irresponsible thinking. I guess Yuji's aware I'm conscious, but no matter how hard I try to move my mouth, I can't answer him. Where on earth are we gonna go? You know, I don't know how I feel about all this. It seems I've been growing gradually more difficult to breathe. Am I gonna suffocate inside this box before I get burned to death? A thought floats idly through my head like a soap bubble. I wonder if Yuji has a license. A moment later, pops and vanishes. Since I found myself in this box, I've been thinking about a whole lot of really pointless things. Things I wouldn't even have thought about before filling my head to the brim. This must be what it's like to be paralyzed. My body's asleep, but my mind's awake. I'm immobile as if bound head and foot, although there's no rope wrapped around me. Great episode to be sick and try and record. Yeah, brilliant. Because I'm gonna stop now, even though I'm already feeling it here in the throat. Whatever. I'll bury you in your favorite place. Aww. My body jerks up inside the cramped coffin, helpless to resist the shock of transport. Maybe this is what it feels like to be a chocolate sitting in the box of candy? You were always talking about it, weren't you? That'll be your official place of death. All that about the cremation was a lie. This was the plan from the start. Also, you can't move because I gave you a heavy dose of muscle relaxant, so don't worry, it'll wear off fairly soon. And then you'll find yourself all alone inside a deep dark hole with a heavy mound of soil above you. Probably won't be able to escape even if you try. This is world. Shed for. Have yourself a nice in there. Yeah, me. So it sounds like he buried her. I don't think he did. My body can't move. I can't speak. I can't see a thing. The inside of my head throbs painfully. Did I get bumped against the box at some point on the way here? An unexpected wave of powerful exhaustion rolls over me. I can't even think about whether to resist before I'm dragged down into sleep. Or so I think. I mean, the darkness is just as thick when my eyes are open or shut. I don't have any way to track the passage of time. Did I sleep for a while? Maybe I just closed my eyes for a moment? There's no way I can tell in here. I can hear the sound of my own breathing from multiple angles at once. It's echoing off the walls of the box. I make up my mind to try and speak. My voice works. Does that mean my body can move as well? An experiment to try to lift my arm. It was a small movement, but my elbow bangs against the wooden wall right away. Can't move, but it looks like I'm going to have to do so pretty carefully. Alone in my box, I laugh at myself. Carefully? What's the point of that now? All I need to do is lie still anyway. I mean, I'm just going to die in here no matter what I do.
Yuuji.
I call his name, but the sound only makes it a few inches from my face before striking solid wood and rebounding back. In this terrifyingly cramped space where the four walls themselves seem almost like living things, consciously observing me. My bangs cling to my forehead, damp with sweat. My bangs, not bangs. I reach up to fix them, bringing my elbow against the wall once again. After carefully twisting my body around, I finally manage to brush the hair back into place, but nobody can see, not even me, so why did I even bother? My back's sticky with perspiration. It's clammy and gross, really uncomfortable. While my dulled nerves slowly rouse themselves, I begin to notice a number of dull aches spread around my body. But it's not just pain that's starting to tug on my senses, there's also hunger. I silently mouth the word, I'm starving, to no one in particular. Maybe I'll die of hunger before my oxygen runs out. I wonder just how painful death by starvation is comparatively. I think I saw some tasteless list about the most painful ways to commit suicide somewhere. But right now, I can't remember the details. Too bad Yuuji isn't here. I'm sure he'd give me a thorough rundown. Probably a little too thorough. A sweat trickling down my forehead is starting to get into my eyes. It stings. When I lick my lips, it leaves a salty taste on my tongue. What am I doing here again? My thoughts are all tangled up like an old-fashioned telephone cord. I'm thirsty, of course. I don't have anything drinking water. I'm forcing myself to swallow some saliva, but it doesn't do much good. What the fetch? The phone? Startled by the sudden ringing sound, I end up smacking my arm hard against the sidewall. I can feel my heart pounding furiously away. The vibration seems to be coming from everywhere and nowhere. The air resonates with a shrill electric chirping. After hunting clumsily around for some time, I finally discover a cell phone ringing right next to my ear. How weird that must be to say. Sounds like you're still alive. The instant I hear his voice, I feel tears running down my face. What is this emotion? It's not relief exactly. I can't quite pin it down.
Yuuji?
This is your final choice. That phone can only be used to contact me. Just press 1 on the speed dial. You won't be able to get through to anyone else, and the other functions are disabled as well. It won't even display the time. If you decide that you want to live, call me. That's all. Even though I forced myself into a painfully contorted position to answer the phone, he's already hung up on me. Didn't listen to a word I had to say. Yuuji, this is a very, brute force method. I kind of approve, but I do feel like you're gonna have to, like, help her recover from this if she decides to live. I mean, that's just the way the guy is, yeah, but still, even at a time like this, the thought makes me smile a little. But at least I gotta hear Yuji's voice at the end. Maybe it's better this way. I hug the phone close as though cradling a precious treasure, then close my eyes. Huh? Guess I fell asleep again. I instinctively flip open the phone that's in my hand, but just like Yuuji said, the time isn't displayed. I can't even guess how long I was sleeping. I've gotten so used to the darkness by now that the phone LCD display seems blindingly bright. When I turn my face to the side to escape the dazzling light, I notice the letters everyone wrote next to me. Oh boy. With the backlight for illumination, I can make out the characters clearly enough. Square my body around for some time to get into position and open the first envelope and take out the letter inside.
チルチルへ、なぜ私に黙って死んだりしてしまったんですか？
Oh my gosh.
これは本当に困るので、もう今度からは絶対やめてください。チルチルとしたかった遊びがまだたくさんあったのに、すごく面白いのに、それを知らずに死んでしまうなんてもったいないです。内緒にしてたけど、チルチルと一緒に見たかった景色だってあります。
What?
すごく綺麗なのに、それを知らないままなんてダメです。まだたくさんのことが残っている。この場所を置いていってしまうなんて、それはいけないことです。今までありがとう。でもやっぱり、こんなのはおかしい。
That's such a Machina letter. Oh my gosh.
マキナ。
The letter itself is a little weird. You can definitely tell she was flustered when she wrote it. The next envelope I pull from the little pile is Amane's.
ミチルへ。こうしてミチルにお手紙を書くのも最初で最後になるんですね。まだ気持ちの整理はつかないけれど、心残りになると嫌なので書きます。ミチルがツンデレじゃないってことは分かっていました。
I'm glad she's like at least airing it out.
だから いつも無理していないか心配していました。大丈夫かなって思ってました。
I love that. Like, that's actually a really good one to be like, I know you were just pretending.
みちるは自分よりも他人を第一に考えるようなところがあったよね。
Yeah, she was genuinely. I think I said it in a comment for sure, and I thought I said it in an episode, but again, like, I think what makes Michiru so special is the fact that, like, despite all the terrible things that she went through, she was a truly empathetic person. She could easily see what others felt, what they wanted, how they, like, what was bothering them, even in ways that they didn't even recognize they were being bothered by. And she would use her ability, her understanding, to try and help them, to make their lives easier. It was tiny little ways, but it was an activity she actively did. Something that Dark Michiru also did, but Light Michiru did it as well. And it's something they've got to remember. Like, I think part of the downside to being empathetic, because I do find I am very much empathetic too, which is why I think I love visual novels so much, is because, like I said, I feel myself like I'm in the story, like I'm actually there with the characters, either as the characters or next to the characters. I feel like I'm present, and it makes it so that the emotions hit like a truck every time. And so she, I think, is like me in that regard. And if it's like me, then yeah, it's nice to see that she took the darkness in her and used it to put other people and try to make their lives better. That's so commendable. It'd be so easy to just give in to despair and to just avoid people because you don't want to bother and you don't want to deal with the stress of disappointing them. And instead, she strove to just do her part and never considered it to be a helpful part. She just felt like she was doing whatever it took to try and make sure that people didn't hate her. But she did it in the kindest of ways.
気づいていないと思ってるだろうけど、ちゃんとみんな分かってたよ。
Yeah, we all did.
今はもう無理はしていませんか？天国に行ったみちるが無理をせずに。
That's an unfortunate formatting error right there, but it's okay.
自分のしたい通り、自由な姿でいられればいいなって思っています。私は、今のこの状況を受け入れることが難しいです。以前、入院でみちるがここからいなくなった時、りょうは寂しい雰囲気になりました。私も普通でいようとしたけれど、心にぽっかりと穴が開いたようで。
Fetch me. That'd be tough to hear and like not keep your composure with.
この穴を塞ぐのにどれぐらいの時間がかかるのかわからないけど、ずっとこのままなのかも。みちるのことは絶対に忘れません。ご苦労様でした。みちるはみんなの大事な友達であり、私にとってもかけがえのない存在です。今までもそうだったし、それはこれからもずっと変わりません。
That's such a key phrase, an irreplaceable presence.
こんなことは恥ずかしくて面と向かって言えなかったけど、ちゃんとみちるのことを大切に思っていました。
I think that's the thing, is like Michiru just never could see. She was so focused on everything she did perceive. She missed like the forest for the trees, and she kind of forgot or never realized one of the most critical parts of being empathetic is understanding that, you know, what's kind of odd is that maybe not everyone sees the world like you do, but a lot of them have the same problems you do. And you are helping them with problems that you also face. And it's funny because it's so easy to think of solutions to problems when you're an outsider looking in and you want to help, versus when you're in the problem and you just don't want to be a bother. It's such a double-edged sword. But like, that's what I think the best part about this is, that Michiru's like not only hearing, oh, they miss you, but it's like they have similar problems. Like, Yumiko felt like she was always left behind and that she never had anyone to count on her, and that she was always going to end up alone, and that terrified her. Amane was like, look, you were a part of my life, and I don't know if that's something that can be replaced, which is what Michiru always was afraid of. She was like, well, the other Michiru's better than me, like, she can just replace me and everyone will be happier. And she's like, no, like, you're gone, like, that can't be replaced. And even Machina, as weird as her statement was, she was saying, like, we had stuff we should have done together. Like, I wanted to do things with you, and it's messed up that I can't. These are all expressions of, like, her own problems and the things that she regrets. Like, her friend from school that meant so much to her. When she was gone, Michiru was torn up by all the thoughts and things that she wanted to do with her that they couldn't do anymore. And it's exactly the same situations that she's seeing the ripples of in her own life, in her own death.
安らかに眠ってください。あまね。
Oh, jeez. After all the effort I put into my tsundere, they saw right through me, huh? Kind of awkward reading these letters. Everybody sounds so different. There are raw words coming from deep inside, feelings that normally would have stayed hidden forever, scrawled out nakedly across the page. That's actually what's kind of nice about writing a letter to a deceased. You get to say words you never could have said or didn't think you could say. Come to think of it, I actually need to do that. I don't know if oh gosh, darn it, no! Oh, it was doing so well! Fetch. Okay, so, I know a lot of you, I've talked about how I've been having the long COVID stuff. I'm starting to see some improvement, which is great. It's like a trickle. It's just the barest of minimums, but it's like something, and I'm hoping it means that there's a light at the end of this now 2-year-long tunnel. It's been 2 years since I had to quit my job, since I've barely been able to wake up, and the only things I've been able to do is essentially like bare minimum home stuff, like washing dishes, doing laundry, and making food, and making videos, because if I plan things out right, I can manage those somehow, because I could do it at my own time, my own pace. Even if I had to break it up, of course, a couple different days, I could do it. And it was like my lifeline to keeping myself sane, because for 2 years I've been able to do nothing. I don't know if I ever talked about this, but the grandma that practically helped raise me passed away of cancer. She got diagnosed with her second round of cancer. It was too far gone for any treatments to really be able to do much more than delay it, and she was done with chemo. She's in her late 80s, and she's just like, you know what, I'm not doing chemo again. I can't bear it. And so she kind of had to embrace it. And then when she passed, like, I luckily got to see her right before the COVID stuff happened. But when she passed, all my family got back together to, give her a send-off, and I was the only person who couldn't go. I was the only one out of my siblings and my dad and his side of the family, and even his cousins and my extended second cousins. They all got to be there. I couldn't. I was the only one. I was stuck at home, and I never got to have that moment. So one of the things I plan to do when I get better is go back, and I was gonna write a letter and give it to her. It's sentimental, but it's the same thing. Because otherwise, these feelings would be unsaid. I didn't think that was the angle I was gonna end up having today. Oh gosh, sorry. This is my own fault here, because I'm thinking about my own situation and how hard it was to not be able to feel like I got to say that goodbye, even if it was last second. I never got that chance, and it all happened so quickly, and it was over before I thought of anything else I could do. Because I even bought the tickets. And they sell tickets to go. Even though I knew I wasn't capable, I was hoping that I would just somehow get the energy and the effort to do it. And then it came and went, and I wasn't home. And that sucked. Sucked a lot. It still sucks. Didn't expect them to write so bluntly, but I guess when it's your last chance, there's really no reason to hold back. There's only one letter left now, and it's Sachi's.
みちる様へ。私は、みちる様とまた会えると思っています。だから、別れの言葉は書きません。みちる様のことを私は待っています。あまねさんも、まきちゃんも待っています。もちろん、 風見さんだってそのはずです。みんなが、みちる様のことを待っているんです。では、またお会いする日まで、幸。
Oh my gosh, as I read the simple words, I remember Yumiko breaking down in tears. Seemed completely out of character for her to get that upset. Sorry, I always felt like she was keeping her distance from me, so why did she cry like that? I don't know, because she's terrified of getting hurt? I realize my hand is beginning to quake slightly. Even though I'm not exactly cold, my teeth are starting to chatter and I can't make them stop. The letter wasn't that carefully worded or anything. None of them were. They scratched them down in just a few short minutes after all, but for some reason, the normality of their words makes it feel like my heart's being squeezed in my chest. I won't be able to laugh with them ever again, or exchange hellos in the morning, or even have one of our stupid conversations. It all felt so normal before, but now it's gone forever, almost like I've only just realized that. The more I think about it, the harder it is to control my trembling hands. At first it was a little more than a mild fidgeting, but now I'm shaking so hard it's almost like a convulsion. My own body feels strange and alien to me, powerless to stop the trembling. I just observe it dumbly. Even after a few minutes, there's no sign the shivering movements are likely to stop anytime soon. I decide to try thinking about something else.
Yuuji.
I wonder where Yuuji is right now. What's he thinking about? He called me on the phone, so maybe he wants to see me again? Maybe he wants to talk to me again. I want to see him. I really do, but... In that instant, the light of this LCD screen vanishes as the cell phone abruptly shuts itself off. Oh no. I press the on button over and over, but the screen only lights up for a few seconds at a time before turning off again. After a while, even that stops. The phone goes entirely dead. Only one thin thread of salvation dangling down from above had just been completely severed right before my eyes. Now I really am all alone, deep inside the dark, heavy earth. All of a sudden, my fuzzy thoughts snapped to a sharp-edged focus. I'd been floating along as if in a dream, but this all feels terribly real now. A distinct, vivid terror of death overwhelms me. Aww. My hysterical voice echoes wetly, pointlessly around the coffin. Some part of me didn't really understand what dying meant. But after reading everyone's letters and losing my only way to contact Yuuji, it's suddenly all too real, all too clear, all too terrifying. The fears grabbed hold of my ankles and won't let go. I can't get out of here. I really can't. I'll never see the light again. I feel like I'm about to go crazy. I feel around the interior of the box with a clumsy, panicked hand, searching for some sort of exit, but of course there's no such thing. There are places in the lid where the material feels slightly different, but nothing happens when I strike them. In the first place, I can't position myself properly in this cramped little box. The hard planks are up against me with every movement. I can feel the rough pain of torn skin, the hot trickle of blood oozing out of my wounds. Aww. It's dark, Michiru.
君はもうこの世界を終わらせたいって言ってたじゃない。それなのにどうして今になって怖がっているの？
A face exactly like my own floats in the darkness before my eyes. Am I just hallucinating, or is the other me somehow taken on form?
取り乱しても仕方ないじゃない。慌てても意味ないよ。だけど、だって私、このままだと死んじゃう。
That's a really cool picture, though. Dang.
そうね。それが目的だったんでしょ？あなたが死んで、私が代わりに生きる。そうしたかったんでしょ？でもこのままだと、二人で終わっていっちゃうね。うん。最初は、あなたに代わりをしてもらうつもりだった。でも、間違ってる気がしてきて。
Oh, man.
このまま勝手に死ぬなんていけない気がしてきたの。
Why? Make her understand herself.
それがわがままだってわかってる。でもお願い、ここから私を出して。ごめんなさい。そうしたいけど、 今の私は何もすることができない。私はただ君と一緒にいるだけ。行動するのは君。そうだよね。私がやらなきゃいけないんだよね。
That's the only way it has to be that way. The other me stares right into my eyes, her face steady and calm, not even blinking.
君は本当に誰からも愛されていなかった？君は本当に誰からも必要とされていなかった？よく考えて。私は生きていたかったのに、不意に何の理由もなくそれが終わってしまった。
Oh my gosh. Just...
君はちゃんと生きていけたはずなのに、なぜ命を粗末にするの？
If there's any time to confront it, it's now. But fetch me. Could you imagine having that conversation with somebody?
ずっと失い続けてきたから。これからもそうなるのが怖くて。君をどうにかできるのは君だけだから。それが無理ならこのままずっと暗い闇の中にいなさい。私だって心残りぐらいある。でも我慢してる。そうするしかないと思ってる。誰かに期待されたいのなら、誰かに消えてほしくないと思うのなら、まず君が自分自身に期待しなさい。
Come on.
自分を大切にしなさい。
Come on. There's gotta be a way. You can do it, Michiru.
誰かのためじゃなくて自分のために生きなさい。
Exactly. Live for my own sake? I've never even tried. I'm always working for someone else's sake, and always failing. Always falling short of their expectations. Fetch me. That's... Okay, not nearly severe, but like I've said many times, Michiru reminds me of me in high school, and that's like a great... When I kind of woke up to my own, like, troubles and my own, like, my self-issues and realized just how dumb I was being, that was what it was. It was like, I'm always living for someone else's sake. I'm doing things to make other people happy. I always shelved what I wanted in lieu of what others wanted, and I just... When I was 17, something happened. I just suddenly took hold, and I was like, screw it. I'm gonna start doing what I want to do, and it changed everything about my life. And it led me here, because it was that same determination that just grab things and just say, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do it my own way, which is what I started doing the channel for. Always a defective human being. In that instant, the phone begins to ring, even though the battery was definitely dead. The shrill electronic warbling bounces around the inside of the box. I grope around and grab hold of it. The screen and the incoming light are still dark, but the sound of the call continues as loud as before. When I mash the thumb to the general area of the answer button, the ringing stops. I slowly bring the phone to my ear.
もしもし。誰？どうして一人だなんて思うの？
Is that the other Michiru?
ちゃんとあなたのこと友達だって思って大切にしてる人がいるよ。それなのにどうして一人でどこかに行こうとするの？
Is that her friend?
あなたは置いていかれるのがどんなに辛いか分かってないんだ。だから勝手にどこかに行こうとしちゃうんだ。
But no, she does know.
失うことは当たり前だよ。誰かに嫌われることだって私あなたのこと大好きだよ。だからどこにも行かないで。
Oh, wait. Was that what she said after her friend leapt from the roof?
もしあなたが自分のことを不幸せだと思うなら、これから幸せになろう。ここに戻ってきて、これからまた一緒に生きよう。
From now on, I haven't really thought about that so much lately. All this time, I've been focused on enduring the pain from the festering, miserable wounds of the past left me. Even when I met someone new, I'd find myself thinking about what happened before, biting my lip when they weren't looking. What's the point? It'll be over someday.
私は幸せになっていいのかな?
I timidly try to stretch out my hand. The door leading to the future is heavy and cold to the touch.
私はどうしたいんだろう。
I want.
私はユージに会いたい。みんなともう一度お話ししたい。それがいつか終わってしまうことだとしても。
I strain forcefully against the door and it opens before me. Oh, fetch! I genuinely wasn't expecting that. Leading me to this place.
ミチル、ようやく来てくれたね。
What the fetch? The voice takes my breath away. Even after all this time, I'd never mistake that voice. It's my friend, the girl who went to the other side.
迎えに来てくれたんでしょ？一緒に行こうってことだよね。友達だから一緒にいようってことだよね。
What is happening right now?
ミチル、好きだよ。ありがとう。ずっと一緒にいようね。
Is it just a memory? Is she going through a hallucination? The voice draws nearer, accompanied by something that seems to be formed out of pitch black mist. I drew back a step in fear.
どうして逃げるの？私たち親友だって約束したじゃない。それとも私のこと嫌いになっちゃった？
I don't hate you.
嫌いじゃないよ。うん。大好きだよ。だったらこれからずっと一緒に過ごそう。ね。一緒にいよう。
A violet plume of smoke coils itself tightly around my arm. It's sharply cold against my skin like fog rising from dry ice.
これからずっと一緒にいられるね。誰にも邪魔されないね。本当に幸せだよ。ごめんね。ごめんってどういうこと？私のこと嫌いになったの？違う。大好きだよ。今でも大好き。一番大好きなお友達だもん。だったらどうしてそんなこと言うの？教えて。それはね、それはあなたが過去の人だからだよ。過去の人？あなたはもう死んでしまってこの世界にはいない人だからだよ。だからあなたと一緒にいることはできない。私は前を向いて生きなきゃいけない。いつまでも後ろを向いているわけにはいかない。私を忘れるっていうの？
Never.
忘れない。絶対に忘れない。でも嫌なことがあった時にあなたのことを思い出して、あなたがいないからダメなんだってあなたのことは絶対に忘れない。でもこれ以上一緒にはいられない。
Fetch me.
わからないよ。私にはわからない。どうして一緒にいられないのかわからない。ねえ、みんながミチルを叩いたり悪口を言ったりバカにしたり、そんな世界よりも私と一緒に何の悩みもない世界にずっと一緒にいよう。
Painful memories blow through my mind like a squall. For a moment I feel as if the surge of emotion will carry me away, but somehow I brace my legs and hold steady. I seem to have picked up a phone at some point. No, I was holding this all along. The battery's dead and I can't connect to anyone, but right now it's the only thing trying to connect, tying me to the other world.
ごめんね。私行く。未来に。
My hand finds the knob for the invisible door.
あなたはこの世界との決別を選んだ。でも私もそうしようとしてたけど、やっぱり違うって思った。私には一緒に笑ってくれる友達がいる。一緒に泣いてくれる友達がいる。私を待っていてくれる人がいる。私が愛してる人がいる。
And that's why I can't follow you to the road you chose.
ずるいよ。先に行っちゃうなんてずるい。
And sadly, that's the words of what I would consider like essentially a demon, like like something in your mind. That's the voice of that's the voice in her head that's been toxic this whole time. You can't speak for those who have gone on, but I can't imagine her friend, even on that pit of despair that she was in on that last day. I can't imagine her friend would genuinely want her to just not exist and move forward anymore.
ごめんね。でもね、私もあなたのことが大好きだよ。でも一緒に死ぬことは友情じゃない。それは友達の証なんかじゃない。本当の友情は
remembering you.
今一緒に生きている友達を大切にすることだと思う。今一緒にいる友達のために泣けること、今いる友達と笑えること、そしてあなたは大切な思い出として心の中にしまっておく。
I try to leave, but the knob doesn't want to turn. It's so stubborn it feels like it's fused in place. Even so, I keep on twisting at it with all the strength I can muster. But that's not good either, so I start simply hitting the door as hard as I can. More blood spills from my hands with every strike, but I keep right on going without so much as a flinch.
でも現実は怖いよ。誰もあなたと最後まで一緒にいてはくれないよ。
でもやっぱり私あの世界とあの人たちが好きだから。
Oh, fetch. Somehow I managed to force open the lid of my prison, and the next instant a mixture of shocking cold air and damp earth streamed down into the box. It's as if my body's being pressed down under the palms of a giant. I can't move. I spit out the dirt that's fallen into my mouth and try to open my eyes. I'll never see the sky from under the ground before. It makes me feel like the seedling of some bizarre plant. I wanted to gulp down a whole lungful of fresh air, but I can't manage that either. The hole I was buried in doesn't seem to be as deep as I thought, but hunger and exhaustion have left me too weak to push my way free.
みんなと会いたい。
Aww.
ユージと。
Somehow managing to speak, I struggle to crawl up through the heavy, wet soil, but no matter how much I strain my tired muscles, I can't move.
行きたいよ。死にたくないよ。
Writhing like an insect, I desperately try to get at least my face above ground, but my endurance has already run out. Drowsiness, hunger, loneliness push murderously down on me.
ユージ。ユージ。
The reality really is it for me. I'm going to end here, drowning in mud. I couldn't manage to kill myself when I wanted to, and now I'm not going to be able to die when I want to live. Seriously? What an idiot. See, told you I was stupid. But if I had to die, I wanted to die touching the world. I pushed my fingers up through the dirt with my last ounce of strength. From a neutral point of view, it must look like the feeble stirrings of some puny little sprout, one that's picked an odd time of year to surface. Deep in the soil, I slowly weakly extend my index finger toward the sky. I touch the outside air for the first time in who knows how long. It's startling, wonderfully cool. Only a few centimeters of my fingers is in contact with the world, but it's enough. It's enough to tell me that I'm alive. Soft, quiet raindrops wet my fingertips. I've already cried myself dry, so maybe the sky is shedding tears in my place.
もう
My eyelids fall like melting wax running down a candle, falling shut so heavily that it feels like they'll never ever open again. I begin to slowly, peacefully disappear. That was quick. Hasn't even been 3 days since I buried you. After all that pig-headed whining about wanting to die, this is what you got? No guts, woman. Yeah, Yuuji! Oh, the boy! Pull Michiru up out of the earth. She's got a somewhat surprised expression on her face. Understandable, I suppose. Yuuji, you suck.
ユージ。なんでここにいるの？
This isn't a dream. It's reality. How are you feeling? Come to your senses yet?
どうして？どういうこと？
Even I tried to explain the whole thing. I doubt this girl would understand right now. I decided to keep it simple. I knew it would turn out like this. That's why I did what I did. I knew all along you didn't really want to disappear or die. So I sat here and waited for you to break out of that shell. I was just your assistant on this one, here to lend a hand, in the most literal sense. I strongly squeezed Michiru's trembling hand. I was waiting here the whole time, and I was planning to keep on waiting as long as it took for you to come out of that box.
でももし出てこなかったら？
This won't be a thumbnail, but I just gotta love this picture. It's one of those things where it's like, ironically, Michiru, she's bleeding, she's covered in grime and dirt, she's been in a sweaty box for 3 days, she's starving, she's like covered in mud, clearly. And it's also the most beautiful thing because it's like, this is Michiru coming out of her past. She's emerging like a flower. And it's like, Even when she dressed herself up on those pretty dates and all the crazy things, the intimacy, like the H scenes and whatnot, it's like, this is the far most beautiful thing in the entire story so far, is here, where she's come out of her own will and said, I don't want to die, I want to live. What cooler words could you ever hear from somebody? What if I never came out? Who knows? I hadn't thought about it. Waiting for people to pop out of their holes is my profession especially. You see, there was no plan B. Kind of a half-assed strategy, granted, but it seems to have worked out.
さっき3日って言ってたけど、3日間ずっと待ってたの？
That's right.
ずっと？
That's right.
ご飯は？
I locked you up inside a box and stuck you in a hole. You expect me to complain about my stomach grumbling? Anyway, 3 days are nothing to worry yourself about, barely worse than getting stood up for a date. Anyway, that's enough pointless backtalk. Let's get going.
ちょっと待って。私、今、生きてるんだよね。
Oh, yes you are. You're probably more alive than you've been in a long time. That's right.
もう一度、ユージと。
That's right. Michiru's eyes had resembled a dull, cloudy marble for so long I'd almost forgotten they could sparkle like that. Look at that! Look at her!
ありがとう。ユージ、ありがとう。
It's a crazy, crazy gamble he made, but it genuinely was a good gift. It was horrible, but at the same time, I really did think she needed it. Yeah, save it for later.
今言わせて。
Aww.
私、ごっこじゃなくて、ユージと恋人になりたい。
Well, this is all very sudden. Can't say I've ever had a woman covered head to toe in mud confess her love to me before. A valuable experience to be sure. Yuuji, you shut up and accept, dang it! But a couple? Weren't you afraid of the end? You alright with the fact that we might have to say goodbye someday?
いつか終わりが来るとしても、それまで、1秒でもユージと長く一緒にいたい。それに、1秒でも長く一緒にいるために頑張る。
Aww. Try hard at what, exactly?
わかんないけど、嫌われないようにとか、もっと好きでいてくれるようにとか、楽しくなるようにとか、いっぱい頑張る。
Well, lucky for you, based on what I know, that won't be difficult. It was always kind of fun having you around no matter what.
あと、逃げない。現実から、この世界から逃げないようにする。
I see. Sounds fairly promising. Getting the feeling we might be able to stay together for a good while. Oh, that's a soft acceptance. That's great. Yeah, look at that. Look at that face. Ah! What now?
私、ユージのことが好き。
Aww. Honestly, I got the message the first time. Well, looks like the girl's still got some energy left at least. Holding Michiru on my back, I slowly carry her down the road leading back to the dorm. You did good, Michiru. Welcome back to the world you belong in.
ねえ、今何時？時間が知りたい。
A little after 2 in the morning, I guess. The witching hour, as they say. Come to think of it, try not to make a habit of rising out of the ground in the middle of the night. People might take you for a zombie.
本当だね。見つけてくれたのがユージでよかった。
Indeed, Sakaki probably would have pissed herself.
ねえ、やっぱりどうしても聞かせて。私が出てこなかったら、中で死んじゃったらどうするつもりだったの？
Well, thing is, that box was a little special. The lid was made to break comparatively easily, and there was a small apparatus to keep a trickle of fresh air coming in. Also, I think that you've realized I didn't bury you that deep.
だから、出ようと思えばいつでも出れたってこと？でも、そうじゃなくて、私が出る意思がなかったら、このままもう死んでもいいって諦めて、何もしなかったら？
I think he didn't consider it because I think he had faith in who you were and what you really wanted deep down. That wasn't going to happen. Remember when I made you wake up by swallowing those candies? And you finally opened up to me about your real feelings?
覚えてる。暗い場所にいたのに、無理やり起こされた。それが何？
That wasn't the medicine you were using to suppress your other self. It was candy. Oh, so he took the medicine out of it and just gave her candy, and he literally tricked her into coming to the surface.
ただの？
That's right. It might have felt like I dragged you out by your shell, but the fact that you came out on your own, and you wouldn't have done that if you really wanted to die. These are just lumps of flavored sugar. I retrieved the plastic tube of rum and candies from my pocket and tossed a single lozenge into Michiru's mouth.
甘い。甘くて美味しい。私のこと騙したんだね。
Hey. There's water under the bridge. And you're not really a tsundere. Granted, that was completely obvious from the start, but I think we're even on principle. Alright, there's the school. I think the first order of business is a nice long bath. These days, the real zombies could get a little more hygienic than this.
もう、意地悪。
おかえりなさいませ。
Sachi literally was waiting. She not only was waiting for us, but waiting for Michiru. Spotting us, Sachi stops brushing the sidewalk in front of the gate and approaches with a beaming smile on her face. What on earth are you doing up at this hour, woman?
何ってお掃除ですよ。
Huh, so it would seem. But isn't it a little late for that?
いつ誰が帰ってきてもいいように、なるべく遅くまで働いているんです。特にここ数日は。
She literally, I don't know if she just guessed it or what, but somehow she knew.
っていうか、サチ、私を見て驚かないの？
はい。でも私は、みちる様が亡くなったなんて信じていませんでしたし、絶対に戻ってくるって思っていましたから。それよりも、他の皆さんに見つからないようにしてくださいね。みちる様どころか、風見さんまで消えてしまったものだから、みんな大騒ぎなんですから。
Yeah, I imagine that's true, because he literally didn't leave her side for 3 days. Yeah, I imagine that they all got very upset about that. Huh, not entirely surprising, I suppose. How did things stand currently?
学園長さんが、問題ないわよ、風見くんなんだから、
Right.
おっしゃってました。私は納得しましたけど、榊さんや天音さんは、ずっと落ち着きがなく過ごしています。マキちゃんはシャドウ影踏みの練習で気を紛らわせていました。
Well, there's that at least. Sorry for the trouble. I'll have to explain everything to you all later. Guess I'd better brace myself for a slap or 3.
そうですね。ささ、お疲れでしょうから、お風呂へどうぞ。ちゃんとお掃除してありますからね。
It's gonna need another one. I appreciate it. You really are a maid among maids, Sachi. Still carrying Michiru, I turn to enter the premises, but before I can take a step, the girl shifts her position on my back and speaks.
サチ、ありがとう。私のこと待っててくれて。
Aww.
いいえ、みちる様こそ戻ってきてくれて。
うん。ただいま帰ったわよ。
Yeah.
おかえりなさいませ、みちる様。
Ah! Ah, so cute! Yes!
あんたはもう寝ていいわよ。明日も早いんでしょ？
ええ、そうですね。では失礼させていただきます。ここのところ、さすがに寝不足です。
Are you crying?
うん。
Aww. I see. Making no further comment, I carry Michiru to the bathroom. You're filthy. I'll bring you a change of clothes, so you focus on getting that dirt off for now. Everything else can wait till after.
うん。
What's wrong? Being alone too scary?
大丈夫。だってユージは絶対に迎えに来てくれるはずだもん。
That's true. He is inevitable. The girl smiles a little awkwardly as she speaks. I give her a quick pat on the head and make my way down to her room to obtain a fresh change of clothes. That's sad. I don't know whether anything is in here. These are the ones she's always wearing. Well, that works. Already out of the bath? That was fast. Brought you a change of clothes. Are we about to have another, scene? Part of me is wondering if this might be the place where we end things. I don't want to go too long. Let me see how this... Hang on, one sec. Okay. Her body wrapped up in a towel I left in the changing room, Michiru shuffles around shyly.
ねえ、ユージもお風呂入りなよ。
Oh boy. Not right now. I need to arrange for your medical checkup and...
いいから。だって、ユージだって同じ時間ずっと外にいたんでしょ？
That's right. Oh, do I smell? Sorry.
そうじゃないけど、一休みしてってこと。
As Michiru's insistence, I consent to a bathe. From the perspective of a freshly washed woman, I must seem exceptionally unsanitary at the minute. Might have been a little inconsiderate on my part. Sure, buddy, sure. Yuuji. It's not the time for a leisurely soak. I opt for a quick shower. But just as I'm finishing up, Michiru comes in as well. Yep. All right, so I think we're going to be parting here, and I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and end this episode here. It's a very nice, lighthearted thing. I imagine we're going to be going into a scene. I'm going to go ahead and check just in case, but if not, I'll do like a full sign out in just a second. Oh, maybe not. She's here. Hello there. Felt like taking a bath in your clothes, or maybe you forgot something?
そうじゃなくて、ユージにまた会えたことが嬉しくて、だから。
I understand that, but couldn't you wait 5 minutes for me to come out of the shower?
いろいろなお礼も含めて、背中を流してあげようかなって。
Okay. You're a real handful. Alright, if you're doing this, do it quickly. Michiru rubs the bar of soap against the washcloth, slowly and carefully working up a nice lather.
失礼します。
The girl proceeds to wash every nook and cranny of my back. Nice gesture, but after 5 straight minutes of scrubbing, it starts to feel like she's overdoing it a little. Alright, that's good enough.
ゴシゴシ。ゴシゴシ。
I love Michiru so much. I told you that's good enough. Cut it out already.
やだ。やっぱり離れたくない。
Aww. Finally, abandoning her washcloth, Michiru leans against my back and wraps her arms around me. Must have been pretty lonely down there. I'm not going anywhere, Michiru.
わかってる。わかってるけど。ねえ、ごっこじゃない。キスして。
Yeah. Yeah. Oh! There we go. Look at that shot. I turn around, take Michiru by the wrist, and draw her to me.
ユージ。
Yes, to answering, I press my lips to hers. Yes. Yes. Michiru.
ユージ。
You two, please, just pretend this isn't happening. Let us enjoy this. Every time Michiru's lips move against mine, I can feel my body grow a little hotter. Oh, okay. See, we might have to part ways here for real, though. Something similar may be happening to Michiru, judging from the blush that spreads from her face to her ears and then all the way down her neck.
ユージ、ありがとう。もう大丈夫。これ以上。
That's so? Thought you didn't want to let me go.
そうだけど、これ以上されたら、私、
Oh.
変な気分になっちゃうよ。
Uh-huh. Sounds good to me. We're a couple, aren't we? What's the problem?
恋人なの？だって、ちゃんと返事してもらってないけど。
Oh, I heard it. I guess it was subtle, but I did hear that. Are you serious? Doesn't that go without saying at this point?
そうかな。私わかんなかった。
Alright. As an abrupt surge of affection warms my chest, I once again bring my face to Michiru's. Michiru?
一緒に
I figured.
気持ちよくなりたい。
I ease myself onto the floor. A moment later, Michiru's straddling me on her hands and knees, and that's where we're definitely gonna have to cut away from here. I'll proceed forth just to make absolutely sure. I've been saying it 3 times now, but I feel like we've definitely crossed the point of no return for this. And that's where we're going to end things. I got to say, I'll talk about that scene we just saw in set, but first off, I got to say this line that we're seeing right here at the bottom, can't stand people who decide they save someone with a little kindness. It makes me wonder, like, so we helped Michiru, but I wonder if Dark Michiru, if we have more to explore with her. Like, if this isn't the end, I thought we were actually like heading towards the actual ending, but maybe there is a lot more to it than that. So that could be interesting. I was thinking we might have one more part for this, and then we'd have to do another route, but maybe this one's not quite over yet. Interesting. If that's the case, then holy crap, right? Like, holy crap. Anyway. All right, so the last scene. All right, so before some of you said you were surprised when I said that it felt really wholesome the last time they came together, and I can kind of see now why that might have been a reserve of judgment, because that wasn't an unpleasant sequence, but I felt like it was less about like tenderness. Like, it started off really, really good, I think, and frankly, it wasn't like there was anything like shocking, disturbing, or wrong in any way, but I did feel like for that whole sequence, it was not so much about like telling a narrative of closeness and togetherness, but checking boxes of things that people like that weren't featured the first time. And so for me, that was a little more annoying than not. I kind of wish they just stuck with one of the essentially 3 separate kind of scenarios they went with. I think if they'd stuck with just one, it would have been perfect. It would have been like a great capstone to this sequence of events. And honestly, it's another one of those things where like it does seem a little ridiculous that after 3 days, where both of them like essentially weren't eating or taking care of themselves, that they would feel ready to go for something like that. But you know what? Those instincts are pretty powerful. And high motivation and missing people and being in love, very strong motivators as well. It makes sense in a way. It might seem bizarre, but it makes sense. But then, again, it just felt like it started trying to just check boxes, and I've never been a fan of the box checking for anything. It's the same thing with inclusion in other forms of media. Like, I think it's great to have visual and like representation of any marginalized groups in media. I think it's really important that we tell stories that feature tasteful and thoughtful prerogative story that involve people from all groups, sects, and everything. Like it all tells and is part of what I would consider to be a true, powerful, and branching narrative. The downside can be when you step away from trying to tell a good story whilst being inclusive, and telling it and trying to just check boxes so that you can, I don't know, what's it called, virtue signal. I don't like that, because that does happen a lot, unfortunately, where it's like, oh, here's this character, but they have a disability. Here's this character, they're this nationality. Oh, here's this character, they're female. Then they're in a man's world, and here's this character, they're LGBT. Like, I don't like that. What I prefer are characters who also have those aspects to their lives, but they're characters first. And that's why I can still be very forgiving for a game like this, as opposed to like the more just pure fan service games. Because Michiru is a character in her own right, amazing character. Yuuji, a little bit more plain, but still a character with depth and personality. And like, I think he's a bit more, blank slate for the main character, self-insert type of feel, but even then, like, he still has so much to make his character deep, and about motivation and the reasons he's doing things, it all made sense for both of them, in my opinion, to be here. And so I have no problem initially with it. I just, like I said, as it went on, it felt like it was almost more like box checking rather than focusing on the characters and what they want. So we'll have to see. I'm curious to know what you think about that. Also curious to know what you think about this episode. But come on, could I have broken any of that up? Do you think I could have stopped anywhere there and it would have made sense? No. Yeah, this monster is being put to rest for now. We'll see what this tagline has to do. Because I get the feeling, just based on it alone, that there might be a lot more to the story than I initially thought. Which is great. I'm really happy to have that. So yeah, we'll have to just see what happens next. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me on the channel, for being a part of this journey. I hope you enjoyed. I've got to go give my throat a rest. I'm not regretting at all, but I might regret it a bit in the morning when I have no voice. So we'll see how that plays out. But thank you all so much for being a part of the channel and for sharing these wonderful stories with me. I look forward to reading your comments. A lot of you get real vocal on these ones, so I'm real curious to see what you think and expressing like your thoughts that you've been like probably chewing your nails off trying to wait for see how I react to it. So I hope it was enjoyable for you. It was certainly enjoyable for me, and I really appreciate your support, whether it be directly with Patreon and membership on the YouTube channel, which is like amazing, and I don't know if I deserve that. I hope I do. I try to. But even just watching the video and then leaving comments is like one of my favorite things. I love reading your comments and being able to respond to them. I try to respond to each and every one of them. The downside is that I always can see like comments on the most recent video, but as the video gets older, I don't get like the notifications pushed to me as often, or sometimes like I find them months later where I'm like, oh wait, I never saw this comment. And so like, no, if I ever don't respond to you, it's either because I don't have much to say, and usually I still leave a like on the video, on the comment anyway. Like if I don't have much to add, or I can't add anything at the moment, but I still like appreciate it, like you'll see me there. If for some reason I haven't liked or commented back to you, because it's 99% of the time is because I just haven't seen it for some reason, and I hope that like you understand that, because like literally I respond to every comment I can. It's so much fun to be able to talk to you all and see what you think and the back and forth and everything, so real excited for all that. Anyway, hope you have a great day, and until the next video watch me or see me next, I'll see you there.